Morning tiptoed into Brindlebrook Village. Dew shone like tiny beads on leaves, and the brook sang a quiet, bubbly song. Luna stepped outside with her lantern, even though the sun was waking up. The air felt cool and fresh on her cheeks. Kai hurried down the lane with his little fox padding beside him. The fox sniffed the air and flicked its tail like a tiny flag. In the quiet square, something unusual rested on the stones. A pale feather glimmered softly, as if it held a piece of the sky. Luna gently picked up the feather. It felt light as a whisper, and it shimmered with a calm, milky glow. Kai and his fox came closer to look. The fox sniffed once, then sneezed a tiny sneeze, and the feather twinkled brighter. Luna and Kai noticed a trail of soft sparkles floating away from the square. They decided to follow it, step by careful step. The sparkles drifted toward the village path. Flowers nodded in the breeze, as if waving goodbye. Together they left the village behind. Luna kept the feather safe in her hand, and Kai matched her pace so they stayed side by side. The path curled toward the trees. The morning grew brighter, and the sparkles bobbed ahead like patient guides. Mosswhisper Thicket welcomed them with green hush and warm sunbeams. Leaves rustled softly, making a gentle shoo-shoo sound. Luna and Kai stepped under the trees. The feathers' glow painted tiny highlights on the fern tips like morning pearls. Luna stopped to listen. The forest felt cool and soft, and the feather seemed to hum very quietly in her palm. Kai hopped over a fallen log, and the fox hopped right after him. Their steps made little thumps on the springy moss. The sparkles rose higher, like they wanted to leave the forest. Kai held a leafy branch aside so Luna could pass without getting her hair wet. Soon the trees grew thinner. Ahead, something flashed like silver, water sparkling in the sun. They followed the sound of rushing water. The feather stayed warm and light, as if it was happy they were close. A narrow footpath led them between tall reeds. Dragonflies zipped by like tiny blue arrows. Silverstep stream glittered under the bright day. The water sang louder here, splashing over round stones. Luna and Kai reached the bank and leaned closer. The feather's light danced on the ripples like tiny stars in the daytime. A leaf bumped against a stone, and Luna carefully lifted it out with the edge of her lantern. She kept the feather safe, away from splashes. Kai tested a stepping stone, and the fox tried too. The stone wobbled, and they both jumped back, leaving little rings on the water. They crossed together, slow and steady. Kai offered his hand, and Luna stepped lightly, keeping the glowing feather held up high. On the far side, the land rose into sunny rocks. The sparkles floated toward that higher place, as if calling them up. They left the stream behind with damp shoes and warm smiles. The water's song faded, but the feather kept shining. The trail climbed and the wind grew bolder. Tiny thyme leaves released a sweet smell when their shoes brushed past. Sunrock Bluff stood bright and open under a wide sky. The rocks looked warm enough to nap on, and the clouds drifted lazily above. As they stepped onto the bluff, the sparkles gathered in one spot. They swirled near a crack in the rock, like a secret doorway. Kai crouched by the crack, and the fox sniffed the cool air coming out. Dust puffed softly as Kai brushed the stone clean. Luna held the feather close to the opening. Its glow changed from pearly to brighter, as if it recognized this place. Kai shifted a loose stone, and the crack widened just enough to crawl through. Luna raised her lantern, and they both took a careful breath. The sun began to tilt, making shadows stretch a little longer. The sparkles slipped into the opening, inviting them into the cool dark. They crawled inside, moving slowly so they wouldn't bump the rocks. Outside, the bright day stayed behind like a warm blanket. The tunnel felt cool and smelled like clean stone after rain. Far ahead, a tiny chiming sound tinkled, like little bells saying hello. Cloudbell Cavern opened wide and quiet. Mineral chimes hung from the ceiling, and each breeze made them sing a soft, glassy song. Luna's lantern painted warm light on the cave floor. The feather shone even more, and its glow twinkled in the little pools like shy stars. Luna leaned over a pool and watched the light ripple. Her breath looked like a tiny cloud in the cool air. Kai and the fox explored near the wall. The fox tapped a little chime, and Kai steadied it so it only made a gentle ting. On the wall, they found a carving of a big bird made of clouds. Beneath it was a feather-shaped groove, waiting like a missing puzzle piece. A cool draft swept through, and the chimes began to sway. The cave's song grew louder, as if the cavern was asking for help. Luna tried to fit the feather into the groove, but the draft kept tugging it back. Kai cupped his hands to block the wind, and they tried again. Luna placed her lantern behind a rock so the light stayed steady. The warm glow made a calmer pocket of air in front of the carving. Kai found a long, bendy grass stem and brought it back, the fox helping carry the end. He waved it slowly to guide the draft away, like steering a sleepy breeze. With the wind gentler, Luna slid the feather into the groove. A soft click sounded, and pearly lines lit up across the wall as the chimes chimed together, sweet and clear. Above them, light and mist gathered into a glowing cloudbird. It floated gracefully, and the pools below copied its shape like shining mirrors. Luna and Kai stood very still so they wouldn't scare it. Sparkles drifted down like gentle snowflakes that melted before touching the ground. Kai and the fox noticed the cloudbird moving toward the exit. The fox's ears stood up, listening to the open sky beyond. Luna lifted her lantern like a friendly star. The cloudbird followed the warm light, floating slowly and safely. They walked back toward the outside world. Behind them, the carving glowed softly, as if saying thank you. Outside, the late-day sun painted everything orange and gold. The cloudbird rose into the open sky, free and bright. The cloudbird drifted toward a hill where the wind looked gentle. Luna and Kai followed, keeping it in sight as the sky warmed toward sunset. They headed down the path in the soft orange light. Their steps were slower now, like the day itself was getting sleepy. Tall grasses brushed their legs with feathery touches. Up ahead, the cloudbird floated over the hill like a quiet lantern in the sky. Starwheat Terrace glowed under the sunset. The wheat swayed in golden waves, and the cloudbird circled gently as if looking for a perfect place to rest. Luna lit her lantern as the light began to fade. The wheat tickled their fingers, and the cloudbird floated down toward a nest of soft flowers. Luna made a little circle of wheat stems, like a tiny bed. The lantern's warm light made the flowers look extra soft. Kai and the fox found a fluffy seed tuft and carried it over together. They tucked it into the nest so it looked like a pillow made of clouds. The cloudbird settled down with a quiet, shining sigh. Its glow softened, and the first little stars began to peek out above them. Twilight wrapped the terrace in violet and blue. The wheat whispered in the wind, and the cloudbird glowed like a calm nightlight. Luna and Kai took one last look to make sure the cloudbird was cozy. Then they turned toward home, with stars blinking awake above the hills. They walked down the path as night arrived. Behind them, the terrace became a soft, dark wave, with one gentle glow tucked inside. The moon rose, and crickets began their sleepy music. The lantern made a warm puddle of light on the path, guiding each step. Brindlebrook Village looked extra cozy at night. Warm window lights winked hello, and the brook reflected the moon like a silver ribbon. Luna and Kai came back quietly, so they wouldn't wake anyone. The night air felt cool, and the village smelled faintly like baked bread. Inside, Luna placed her lantern on the table. The warm light made the room feel snug, like a soft nest. Kai and the fox curled up on a cushion near the gentle fire. A little steam rose from a warm drink, smelling sweet and comforting. They sat together on the rug, sharing a few berries. Everything felt quiet and safe, and the stars outside looked like tiny pinpricks of light. The cottage grew softer and quieter as the fire settled down. The curtain moved a little, like the house was breathing slowly. Luna snuggled into her bed, warm blankets up to her chin. Her eyelids drooped as the lantern glow stayed steady and kind. Kai fell asleep with the fox curled against him, both breathing slow and even. Outside, the moon watched quietly, and inside, everyone drifted into gentle dreams.